Welcome to New Life Live with Stephen Arterburn. For 35 years, New Life has been transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's today's host, Becky Brown.
Well, hello, everyone. We are so glad that you joined us today, and we are looking forward to taking your calls for the next 2 hours. You can call us 1-800-229-3000. We're always so grateful to have this opportunity to help you. And today's hosts, along with me, are Dr. Alice Benton and Marc Cameron. And Marc, I would love to know what is on your mind today.
Yeah, so what's on my mind today is left brain versus right brain communication. And so what I mean by that is the left brain usually is the more logical side and the right brain is the more emotional side. And when somebody's having a right brain emotional reaction, a left brain logical response is not going to get through to them. A couple of years ago, my mom came to visit me, and she took my niece and nephew, they were 18 and 20 at the time, and we went up to Mount Baldy here in Southern California. And my niece and nephew and myself, we wanted to go up on the ski lift to the top of the mountain, but my mom is afraid of heights. And it did not matter what, how much we tried to convince her, she was not going to do it because she was in fear. And I see this happen a lot of times with couples and it doesn't matter even if you're calm in the way that you give your logical response, the message is not going to get through. And typically the message that the other person gets is that they're either wrong, silly, or maybe even stupid for feeling that way. So when somebody's having an emotional reaction, you can only soothe them if you give them an emotional response. And the way we do that is through validation and empathy. Validation and empathy, I like to tell people, are like the glue in the conversation, right? Validation is it makes sense that you feel that way. And empathy is a statement of how that feeling's impacting somebody. So you might say, I can see that this is hard for you, or I'm so sorry that you're going through this. And so when we can connect right brain to right brain first to somebody's emotional reaction and help them soothe, then you open up the pathways to be able to give that left brain to left brain logical redirection response. But you have to do right brain to right brain first. So something very simple, but also very profound and very effective if you can notice when this is happening and then utilize that skill.
It is a classic conflict we hit up against. Often in married couples, we see what you're describing played out, or from parents to children. And our default is we want to correct a person. Well, you shouldn't feel that way. Well, that's not true. But correcting either leads to emotional shutdown or it incites argument and just makes the whole problem worse. Whereas if we comfort first, that calms the emotion and helps to resolve it and metabolize it. And usually peace or problem solving ensues after we comfort.
Yeah, because you feel understood in that moment. Because otherwise you just keep going back with trying to get understood by the other person, and this mismatch happens.
You're telling some secrets there of the counseling training, Marc, because, a lot of times people will say, I don't know why the counseling works, but it really does. And one of those key features is that we listen to you. And but it's interesting because, when we tell people to call us with a problem or, something like that, their emotional side is saying, no, don't call, because I'm afraid of what they're going to tell me, right? And what the logical part is, yeah, but they might be able to help. I think the example of getting up on a ski lift is pretty similar to calling for help. I mean, it's like,
it's terrifying to call.
It is terrifying, right? Because you don't know what they're going to tell you and what are you going to do with what the information is. But I love the idea of connecting right brain to right brain, heart to heart, and then maybe a little suggestion of, well, could you try this? Or what does this sound like to you? But you got to tread lightly. Thank you, Marc, for sharing that. I think we all learned a little bit more. We're going to be right back taking your calls right after this.
Some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. They're just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. The Every Man's Battle Intensive can help.
After 7 years, he just, in one weekend, came back a completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Intensive.
He said this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
The Every Man's Battle Workshop is being held online as a one-day event Saturday, April 13th. Don't wait for him to call. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com.
I just can't say enough of what New Life has done for our marriage.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. I just want to encourage you, if you would like to do a little extra work, it might be time for you to join us on our Emotional Freedom Intensive. It's going to be online March 16th, and Chris Williams, Dr. Jackie McHarris, and Steve Arterburn will be sharing that day. We'll have our breakout groups led by our New Life counselors, and it could be the best 12 hours. I don't think it's 12 hours, but it's something like that. It's going to feel like it, but it's going to be the intense work that you need to move forward and maybe address that that fear or that anxiety or whatever the struggle may be. We're going to talk about things like depression and grief and trauma and healing from those things and getting a start into your new life. We want you to join us at Emotional Freedom, and you can find out all the information at newlife.com, or you can call us 1-800-NEW-LIFE, and we'll be able to help you there. We're going to go to the calls right now, and we're going to talk with Mary, who's calling us from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, listens on WFIL. Hi, Mary. Thanks for calling. How can we help you today?
Yes, hi. Good afternoon, Becky and everyone. I'm a little nervous. I listen to you every day for the past 20 years, and I thank you so much for all of that you do for all of us. I want to jump in and kind of chuckle. Was it Jeff in the beginning talking about left and right brain?
Marc.
Marc. It was Marc Cameron, yeah.
I can go by Jeff.
Well, guess what, Marc? I know all that, but knowing and applying, you know what I mean?
Me too.
Well,
me too, Mary.
Yep. Well, I'm coming from it backwards. A little background. I am a widowed mother of 13 years. I was in a bad car accident, lost my husband, and I am disabled and not wheelchair bound, but walker bound. And I raised 4 girls on my own, and I have one left at home. She's almost 23. A lot of good about this child. She's getting a book published. She's going to grad school and wants to be a school psychologist, but she's reckless with money, partially because I have enabled her. Because she's my baby. There's a 9-year gap. I had her at 44. That being said, I have gotten to the point where I am low income, and there is an opening after waiting 4 years to be moved into a low income assisted living facility. My left brain knows this is where I belong. My right brain is having trouble threading the cord. She knows it. This is what I need. But she's like, where am I supposed to go? And, and she will say it's not there. All my friends have 2 parents. They both work. They have plenty of money. And they have no intentions of moving out yet. Well, I'm sorry. Life isn't always fair, sweetheart. And you've had some time to know this was going to be an eventuality. But anyway, living together has been, she's been very verbally abusive, and I know it's just to get me to change my mind. So your thoughts would be most welcome.
Well, let's start with Jeff, also known as Marc, and see how we can help you, Mary.
Oh, Mary. I feel for you and your situation here, and I love that you do have your left brain activated here. I mean, you know what you've done with your daughter. You've done the best that you can with what you had, and you've compensated a little bit here too, because she probably didn't get to know her dad as well, and she's the youngest.
No.
This big 9-year gap, and again, you've admitted this, that you've enabled her with money, financially, and how a big part of how we grow is the experiential part. You know, there's people who can tell us what we need to do, but until we actually go and do the rubber meets the road existential work of it and to know how it feels, that's when growth occurs. And so, yeah, what's happening here is your daughter, she's trying everything to maintain the comfort, but she's 23 at this time. And like you said, she's a very capable person. She's in grad school. She's becoming an author here. But it's some of these life skills, though, even though she's got the intellect, it's some of these practical life skills that she needs to learn. And so I just kind of want to help you here, right brain to right brain, just to kind of help you free yourself from this guilt that you're feeling, is that we have to allow our kids to go through the struggle to see if they can recover. And that's what helps build resiliency. And she doesn't realize that if you don't allow her to do that, then she will remain dependent upon you or others for the rest of her life. And so you are allowing her to experience something that can only be taught through going through it. So I just want to encourage you there. You're a good mom. You're doing the right thing. Keep going with your plan.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Mary, when I was disciplining one of my children the other day, he said to me, "You are so mean. You're so harsh." And that just hit my people pleaser. It was like a slap across the face to my heart to hear that from him. And it really took me aback, and it made me question, am I harsh? Am I mean? And I had to step away from him for a while to review my discipline I was enacting, to check, was I over the top with it? And I decided, Mary, no, I was not over the top with it. He was trying to push back. He didn't want the discipline. And so he was misusing his words to try to convince me to back off. But he was wrong about it. And he was being mean about it to me, actually, even though he was blaming me for being mean. Yes. But Mary, sometimes I can't figure that out without checking with another stable-minded adult, because I am a people pleaser and a conflict avoider. And I would suspect you and I share a little bit of that in common. And so I'm worried about whether or not you have a strong enough sisterhood around you. You've been single parenting, girl. You've been doing this on your own with the grief of losing your husband in the way you did and being physically impaired too. Have you been trying to deal with your daughter kind of in isolation, or do you have some good sisters, some good friends around you that are helping you?
I could use more. You really learn who your true friends are when you're going through a crisis, you know. And, you know, they get angry at me. And there's like, the answer is simple, just do it. That's the kind of response I get. But I will tell you, last night, my oldest daughter was the best. She said to me, "Mom," and she's married, has 3 children. She goes, "Do yourself a favor and stop thinking about Riley." She said,
it's easy to say, though, isn't it, Mary? You're feeling it, though. That's
So Mary, I want you to prioritize doing a couple of things so that you can soothe your heart and detach a little bit from how Riley mistreats you, because that guilt could drive you to continue to enable and overprotect her. So I want you to build up the sisterhood of women around you who will lovingly, caringly support your boundaries and encourage you those times that Riley is harsh towards you. And then I want you to consider apologizing to Riley for enabling. Because although you had your reasons for it, like you pointed out at the beginning, that has probably exacerbated her recklessness. And if we allow our children to mistreat us and we don't respond with enough strength, their behavior tends to get worse. And so as a parent, taking responsibility for that will help. And then I'd have you invite Riley this is unfair, isn't it? What we have gone through and now what we're both facing, this is so wrong that you lost your dad. And we can be upset about that together if we're respectful to each other. So I want to listen for a little bit, couple minutes, to how unfair it is that you and I are both in this situation. And if you can stay respectful, I want to hear what you have to say. But I'd end the conversation if she starts to become disrespectful or abusive.
I absolutely love that. Yeah.
And Mary, and I was going to say this, and Alice actually said it, but she gave you the words. If you notice what Alice did is Alice actually showed you how to agree with Riley. And that's one thing that I might do. If someone is conflictual with me, sometimes I'll just agree with them. I'll say, yeah, you're right. It is unfair. Yeah, you're right. This is hard. And if you agree with them, it's almost like they have nowhere to go. Right.
Yeah.
And you're connected, but do it in a right brain to right brain way, right? Like Alice was saying, like it's empathy, it's validation. I understand. I know that it's hard. And then once you do that, then you follow up with the left brain. But you know what? I know you can do it. You are a highly capable person, and I know you're going to make it. And why don't we say a prayer together? And maybe that's the way you kind of wrap it up and you end it.
Yeah,
You
I
guys
love
are the
that.
best.
And well,
Thank you, Jeff.
Mary. Yes, thank you,
Jeff is the
Jeff, for
best.
being so smart. Thank you, Mary, for calling. We're going to send you a copy of Jim Burns' book, Doing Life with Your Adult Children. And you know, along the same lines of what Alice and Marc, aka Jeff, knew to say is to relate to her, but also when you have that decision made, then she's got a deadline that she can also begin to work on. She's fulfilled deadlines for her schooling, for her book project, and she knows how to do that. So it could be fuel for her next life, and you know, she'll be grateful that she was able to have that deadline. We'll be praying for you, Mary, and look forward to hearing some good things. We're going to keep going to the calls, and we're going to take calls at 1-800-229-3000. We're going to talk with Debbie, who's calling us from Bonham, Texas, listens on KWRD. Hello, Debbie. How can we help you today?
Hello. Thank you for taking my call. I have a 40-year-old daughter. This is just a brief, you can ask any questions later. A 40-year-old daughter who lives with me. She's trying to finish up her college education. She's never been diagnosed as having mental issues, but we have seen it. And this morning, I'm sorry.
Oh,
she is miserable. She's hearing things. She's thinking things she doesn't want to think. She doesn't keep jobs very long because she's paranoid. I need help, and she wants help. And we find some hope somewhere.
And Debbie, you said she wants help?
Yes, she does.
Oh.
She actually has tried. She has done counseling with a Christian counselor, but everything's online. And she has gone to her primary care. They have prescribed medicines for her. But how do you prescribe medicines when she doesn't have a diagnosis? And I really think she's manic depressive. I also think she may have some schizophrenia because of the things that she says that she hears, and I can hear her talking to herself, hollering at herself. We're in crisis, and I need to know what to do.
Of course, you're just
Debbie, that's
terrified
so
for
hard.
her. Yeah, and seeing the level of her suffering, it gives me great hope that she wants help. Many people who start to experience this level of paranoia or hallucinations reject help and even deny that there's anything wrong with them. And so that your daughter is open to it, it really opens up the possibilities of what we can help you do for her.
Thank you. And I also want to tell you that she left our lives for about 7 years. After she had her first child, she got hooked on Lortab, and she has a lot of trauma from that experience. Now, she's been clean for 7 years, and she's a wonderful person. She's so smart, but she just needs help. I don't know what to do. So.
I have a question, Debbie. Pretty soon you're going to hear the music, but I wanted to ask, what help has she done up to this point? I mean, even from her detox treatment, whatever kind of help she's done up to this point.
She has been through. She spent, I think, a month or two at a detox center, and then she's also been in life recovery and the other one that was drugs. So she's done a lot of work on her own. But this is something that it's just started back. I think she had trouble with it a year ago. So.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll get you some answers after this break, Debbie. Hold on. The hardest part about mental health issues is that they can come on so suddenly. And we really need to get good help to understand them. And you're right, Debbie. It's not good to work from no diagnosis, just kind of throwing medicine out there, hoping that it'll calm things down. We really want to get to the core of what the issue is to provide the support and the structure so that there can be a healing process that's taking place. We hear your heart, Debbie. We'll be right back after this.
Before coming to this weekend, I have been dealing with the guilt and shame of an abortion that I had 20 years ago. And we have 3 awesome kids. But every time I kept getting close to the Lord, kids saying to me, "You're the best mom." That voice in the back said, "You're a horrible mother. Look what you did to that child. You killed somebody. You don't deserve any of this, and you're not worthy." To help free me from my guilt and see that I would not make the same decision today, I would make a different decision, and I am a great mom, and God can use me.
This is Steve Arterburn, and this is the story of a new life. After 20 years of guilt and shame, she attended a workshop and now is free. You can be part of offering hope to others as you step out in faith by donating to New Life Ministries.
To make your tax-deductible gift, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or visit newlife.com and click Donate. Daniel Grossman on coaching.
Coaches are really focused on the future and helping people to develop those skills and those strategies to help them move forward in their life. A coach really partners with you to focus on things like personal growth or health goals, spiritual growth, helping you develop in your career or possibly strengthening your relationships or maybe even breaking free from a negative pattern.
If you need a coach for life, your career, relationships, your health and fitness, leadership, and more, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been trained and screened with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
Coaches use different techniques. Some like to use strategic questions and accountability, ultimately empowering you to take those next steps towards your goals.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and talk to us about getting a New Life coach today.
I really believe that everyone can use a coach in their corner.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. If you love watching material that helps your faith and your personal growth, visit our YouTube channel, New Life Ministries. We have, not only do we have New Life Live there, but we have Going Deeper. We have our Life Recovery Today. We also have a bunch of shorts, not shorts that you wear, but shorts that you watch that have teaching segments from all of our co-hosts as well as Steve Arterburn. And I think that that'll encourage you. You can go there, follow us, subscribe, and that gets the word out for other people to find us there. Right now, we're talking with Debbie, whose daughter is having a big mental health challenge. She's been through treatment. She's done some intensive work, but it is showing up and it's distressing to watch a loved one experience mental health issues. Marc, let's start with you, and we'll get Debbie going in the right direction. How can we help her?
Yeah, Debbie, I can hear the level of fear and concern and stress that you have going on here. One thing that I would say is I'm sure that your daughter does have some kind of diagnosis, even if that is provisional, because to prescribe medication, you have to give somebody some kind of diagnosis to justify the prescription of medication. So you just may not know that. And yeah. I wonder if it would be a good idea to see if you can get permission to go to an appointment with your daughter. I think you said, did you say it's telehealth right now? That she's doing appointments?
She's talking with a Christian counselor on telehealth, I believe. I don't think she's going there. But and this has been going on for years. She's had multiple of these.
But who's the doctor who's prescribing her meds?
I do not know. I do not know. That is a good question.
So that's what I'm saying is try and see if you can go to an appointment with that physician, because sometimes it's difficult in these situations because the prescriber then only gets the information from the patient that they're seeing, and oftentimes they need to know information from family members to really kind of inform their view. And so that would be my suggestion is trying to see if you can go to an appointment with her psychiatrist or her doctor. I'm assuming that she has a psychiatrist, so that you can add in, because I think what you need here is you need to be able to have support too, because it sounds like you're feeling very alone. I think you didn't mention a husband, but you said we, so I wonder if that's you have a husband. No,
he has a twin sister.
Oh, okay.
He has a twin sister, and I'm widowed.
Oh, okay.
So yes, I'm with her here.
Yeah, so that's who the we is. So it sounds like you feel alone, and when we feel alone, we need to have a level of support, especially to know what to do in a crisis. And if you can establish a relationship with her doctor and even with her counselor, if she would allow you to be able to do that, just not so that you can intrude on her therapy, but just so that you can be another person who's in communication as the people who support and love your daughter, who can maybe contact them if you see something that worries you.
How do you think she would respond to your request, Debbie, to get in touch with her provider and attend session with her?
I do know she made the comment this morning. She said, I'm just crazy. I said, no, you're not crazy. And I don't think she's crazy. I just think that this is something that she's developed, or it's from trauma. I don't know what it's from, but she's miserable. I don't know if she'll let me go or not. I have asked her at times, did you tell the doctor everything? Did you tell him everything? Oh yeah, I told him. Well, I don't know that that's true.
So that might be a boundary that you might have to put in place, because you have your own limits here too, Debbie, that and one cannot pour from an empty cup. So you have to be able to have it within you to be able to support her too. And so that may be a limit that you put down when she needs help. If she won't allow you to communicate with them, you might have to say something along the lines of, I see that you're really stressed and I feel really bad, but the way that I could help is to be able to be part of your support with the others who support you.
And you can talk to her providers if you find out who they are, with or without her permission. They can't reveal information to you, but they can receive information from you. So be gently insistent about that. And you can even use some of her words. I know you feel crazy. And I hear you talking to yourself. You tell me that you're hearing voices. Those are crazy making things that you're going through. And so I want to talk, and I need to talk with your doctor so I can help figure this out with you. I would be gently, firmly insistent about that. I'd also ask her to do a drug test. I'm glad she's been sober for 7 years. She hopefully still is, but some of this may be a reaction to secretive using. And even to just kindly ask her to take a drug test so you can help rule out other problems or rule out complications from the medication that she's being prescribed. If you were to ask her to do that, do you think she'd cooperate?
I'm not real sure she would, and it may insult her, but I really, in my heart, and I know this child, even though she's not a child, that's not even in the picture, I don't think, because she's attending
Debbie, it has to be, because it has been in the picture before. I'm being firm about this, but your daughter's symptoms are so severe, and they're symptoms that can come from relapses from substance use. So I think we got to set insult to the side, because her problems are too extreme right now. Everything has to be included and ruled out so you can get the right answer for her.
And you're only going to be able to help her if everything is transparent and you're in the know.
That start from ground zero, Debbie. And the fact that she's finishing this schooling could be triggering some of this anxiety that is increasing all of this reaction. And what we know about addiction, and even in recovery, we have to use the tools that we need. So I hope that something that we've said will help you as you set the standard for her. We'll get you connected with a counselor in your area who could manifest this. We'll be right back after this.
For
Most of my life I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found life recovery. And one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. Did you know that when you order resources from New Life, like our books or Bibles at newlife.com, it's a way for you to help the ministry because, you know, we do what we can to get the prices, but it is helping the ministry do what we do. And just want to say thank you for purchasing those things from us. We are going to continue to go to the callers, and we're going to talk with Christina, who's calling us from Cincinnati, Ohio. Listens on the app. You too can listen on the app. You can download your app wherever you get them. Hi, Christina. Thanks for calling. How can we help you today?
Oh, hi. Thanks for taking my call. I was wondering what to say to people that make fat-shaming comments about other people. It really hurts me, and it's not necessary, but, you know, in conversation, did you see how much so-and-so has gained all that weight? Or, well, they don't look like they've missed any lunches. I don't know how to respond, so I don't say anything.
Christina, has it been coming from people that are close to you, maybe even family members or close friends?
Sometimes, yeah. I'm not overweight, but my mom is, and it just hurts my heart when I hear that.
Christina, is there a particular person who makes these comments to you?
No, it seems like, you know, I do have aunts and uncles, my stepmother, my friends. They all tend to point that out about people.
It's very hard when we hear those kind of disparaging remarks, and it's hard to know what to say because sometimes you're shocked when it comes out of somebody else's mouth, right, Christina? It's like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe you just said that. But
and why did you have to say that?
Well, and sometimes you don't get the answer to why, but what can we say in those moments? Marc, what would you say?
Yeah, and sometimes, Christina, we don't like conflict ourselves, so we just say nothing, hoping that it will go away and they'll stop talking about it. But if this keeps on happening to you, especially with particular people, you may have to set that boundary and speak up and say, I'm concerned too for them, but I don't feel good talking about them behind them, so I'd rather not do that. And And sometimes just saying that sets this marker down for the person to know that you're not open to that. Because if you don't say anything, sometimes that's taken as a passive approval that the person can keep talking to you about it.
That was what I struggle with, is what to say.
Have you tried that? Saying something like that? Does that make you feel anxious to think about that?
I have said, like, well, I'm sure they're well aware of their weight, you know.
But you may have to be more specific to say that I don't want to talk about that because I don't feel good about it, right? If you make it about you rather than them, like, hey, I can't believe you said that about the other person. Make it about you, like, I don't feel good, so I'd rather not talk about it.
Marc, what you said earlier about hurting your heart, Christina, you said that, and this is appealing to that right brain, right? That Christina, you could say, that hurts my feelings, even though you're not talking about me, it just hurts my feelings. And sometimes that's enough because people aren't aware of what that feels like on the other side. Alice, what would you add to that?
There are a couple of additional strategies, Christina, that can help us put this into words, especially if you might tend to be more of a people pleaser or a conflict avoider. I share often that I am. Those things hold true to me. So it's difficult for me to say something in the moment, to stop or to attempt to stop what's happening. Yeah, you do? Okay. All right. So one way to do this is to forewarn a person before it happens again the next time, especially if it's someone that you see or talk to with some regularity. So you might say, before it happens, I've been thinking, there's kind of a commentary that I realize doesn't sit well with my heart. When I hear other people talking about weight, other people's weight, it gives me a yucky feeling inside of me that I don't like. So I just wonder if we can both not do that together. Would you be willing to do that with me? Now, this is an awkward thing to say because most people don't talk like this. But if we can forewarn, it can lower their defensiveness and make it more likely for them to cooperate. And then, Christine, if we can get a phrase that we practice ahead of time, that, oh, that stings, or gosh, that didn't feel good, to hear that, and we practice it beforehand, it's more readily available to us in those moments of discomfort.
Okay. That makes sense.
I love that idea. And Christina, it's hard when those things happen, like you both said, it just is a shock. But we're glad that you called because I think we're all learning from this call as well, how to manage those feelings that come up. Marc or Alice, do you have a book recommendation that we could make for Christina?
How to have that difficult conversation.
It's a beautiful book. That's the one we will send you, Christina. And we're so glad that you called. It is hard, and it's good, though, because we're teaching each other all the time what to, we teach each other how to treat each other. And so when we're able to have those uncomfortable conversations like you're suggesting, Alice, or even being aware of how we feel in those situations, it can give an indicator that somebody else will take up on.
And it's okay, Becky, for us to pick our battles. If it's a person that says it and I'm not going to see them again, or I have very little interaction with them, I might overlook it. Love overlooks many offenses. And so there are times that we choose not worth it to say anything, but in the closer relationships that continue to impact us and it's costing us too much, then we should say something. It's protective.
I agree. Well, we're going to go back to the calls, and we are going to talk with Becky, who's calling us from Houston, listens on Sirius XM. Hello, Becky. How can we help you today?
Hello. I'm trying to figure out a way to move on and not be a people pleaser on a call-in church that I'm just not gleaning from, and I do contribute to them. That's my question.
Okay.
So when you think about leaving, what are you worried the reaction of the church or people in the church will be if you were to just leave and move on somewhere else?
I don't think anything other than I don't want to be like a ghost and have them keep texting and sending messages to say, we're waiting for you. We miss you. And I just...
That's a great...
I'm sorry. What?
No, that's okay. I was just going to say that's very being integrity filled, Becky, that, you know, that you would want to make it clear with them, but you're struggling with how to do that.
Yes.
So, Becky, when you imagine giving just a general statement of thank you for the time I've had with you all, maybe you tell them one positive thing. This is what it's meant. This is a way I've benefited. And I also realize I need something a little bit different. I'm looking for some other characteristics in a church. And so I am going to move on. I'm going to look elsewhere. But thank you so much for the time I've had with you. When you imagine doing that, what do you feel?
Yeah.
And what makes you hesitant to say something like that?
Oh, I can do that because I've been practicing on what to say.
Oh, that puts
Like
a big smile on my face that you're practicing. That's great.
Yeah, because I wanted to say, well, this is what I wanted to say. I'm not gleaning from you anymore, and so that's why I've been taking a hiatus. Yeah, a hiatus, and I just. And then, but if I take a hiatus, and that means I'm coming back. I'm just taking a break, but I don't want to come back. And I don't want to go on as to why I don't want to, because I just think that I feel in my spirit, I feel uncomfortable with some of the things that when other people speak up, he's done it to me many times. I speak up, like if I have a comment, say. It's like it's not acknowledged, but it's not important.
Well,
it's important because it's his platform, and I can understand that. But we're important too.
Yeah, I hear your heart, Becky. Well, discomfort is not always a bad thing. Sometimes discomfort is our body's way of letting us know that we actually need to do something. And so I would encourage you, instead of using the word hiatus, to change that to say, I'm pursuing a different option at this time. And then I'm going to say something that might sound really uncomfortable to you. I'm going to make a suggestion. What would it feel like to then, afterwards, when you receive subsequent texts, to not actually respond?
Oh. It makes me feel horrible.
Yeah, but that's your work. That's your work inside, because once you let somebody know, if they keep on reaching out to you, you've already told them. So you don't need to keep on telling them again. And so sometimes silence is the best way to do it. If you look at the Old Testament, there was 400 years that the Lord was silent. So silence is okay at times, right? And when you don't hear from someone, that also speaks loudly too. So I encourage you to think about that.
Becky, hold on. We'll be back after this break. You will hear from us after this break.
We all face days where life throws us a curveball and our routines or plans get disrupted. Things we wanted to do are forced to take a back seat to the unexpected demands of the day. If you normally listen to New Life Live on a radio station, well, you might not be able to that day. And on these hectic days when you're feeling stressed or frazzled, hearing the sound of counsel given on New Life Live is just what you need to navigate the unexpected things of life.
Every time I'm troubled or I have a problem, I'll cut on New Life, and there's always something that is said that is helpful to me.
By listening, I have learned more than I can ever express about how God wants me to live.
Download the New Life app for the easiest way to listen wherever you are and at a time that's convenient for you, or watch the show on our YouTube channel. You can even subscribe to our podcast from your favorite podcast provider. You never have to miss a day of New Life. Wherever you are, we are.
I have given to New Life regularly because I have so many people that I am referring to New Life who so benefit from the ministry. I just can't imagine what would happen in my area if New Life wasn't available to us.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of all 8 100-day devotionals, including 100 Days of Prayer, 100 Days of Freedom from Depression, and 100 Days of Peace. There are also ongoing benefits like the monthly Club New Life CD or download, access to the Club New Life video library, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, discounts on workshops, and quarterly online meetings with Steve. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We are so grateful for our Club New Life family. I just was listening to that radio spot, and I just want to say thank you to our Club New Life family. If you want to join Club New Life, it's a monthly giving program that helps everything that we do here at New Life. And you can do so by checking us out at newlife.com, or you can call us 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We want to get you connected to the giving family, and you can be part of life change. We are talking with Becky, who's been attending church and wants to make a break, and is just trying to have the challenge she's having the challenge of how to make a graceful exit. And one of the reasons why I wanted to come back after the break, you guys, is because this is a conversation that a lot of people have, whether the church is online, in person. How do we make these changes in our life when we recognize that change has to be made? Alice, what would you like to add to what Becky's been talking about?
Well, I do think there are 3 levels to this, because we can just leave. We don't have to stay at a church, and we can leave without saying anything. If that doesn't sit well with your heart, it's also okay and good to give a thanks, but I am moving on. But that can be scary to do. And a 3rd level is if there's a particular problem and you feel God's nudge to verbalize that problem before you leave, which is the riskiest version, but it also may be a truth that the church or the pastor needs to hear, then sometimes we have to address that. I don't know that you need to. I would certainly put it to prayer and perhaps talk about it with 1 or 2 other people in your life. But you described this pastor's behavior being dismissive. You don't have to say that out loud, but consider whether or not you want to and whether or not you feel like you're making a cleaner break or giving necessary feedback to the pastor about his style that doesn't sit well with you.
Okay.
I love that.
I can do that because all he's going to say is, well, if that's your choice, then that's it. He'll say nothing. He'll do this. He knows he's a lot older and he knows. He's got more experience than I do, probably. And he's okay with... Go ahead.
Becky, it'll confirm what you're feeling. It will just be a confirmation that you're doing the right thing. And what I would encourage you to do is, as you begin to look for a new church home, that you spend a couple of weeks, 3 weeks in a row, I would say, at the same church congregation, just to get familiar. And whether you choose to attend online or in person, in any way, just get to know more about what the church is about. But it's so important to be part of a church community. We want to encourage you, as you make this break, to not take it forever, but this is a good choice on your part. We're so grateful that you called. Not sure, Take Your Life Back might be a good book, because this is one of those challenges of making those choices that work for our lives. And we're grateful that you called, Becky. We are going to go back to the calls, and we're going to talk with Devon, who's calling us from Dallas, Texas, listens and watches on YouTube. And we are glad you're there. Devon, how can we help you today?
Yes, my friend has a son whom is a Christian. He knows it's not okay to live together before marriage, and him and his girlfriend don't really seem to have any real priority to get married anytime soon, if ever. But due to cost of rent, they have decided to purchase a townhome together. So how can I help my friend communicate to his son that it's not okay or it's not a good idea to, live together before marriage without coming off invasive?
That's a tricky situation. Marc, how would you begin?
Yeah, this is a hard one here because you have to confront someone, Devon. I think what I would do here is I would start the conversation with an affirmation and then also let that person know that you want to be brave to talk about something. So that might look like saying something like, hey, I want to talk to you about something. It's going to be a risk for me. I say this because I love you and I care about you. And I don't want to not say something and see you get hurt. So I want to be brave here. But I just want to point this out. I'm not sure that this is going to be a great decision for you, and here's the reasons why. And then in there, you might want to point out his Christian values and how that might resonate with him to go against his Christian values. And there's also many studies, too, about people who cohabitate together. Many, many studies that it does not work out when they get married after the fact. So that's also some evidence here that you could put in there just to help him see that it's not just about Christian values, it's also about his future.
That's good.
Devon,
Alice?
I would just add to that, if you or your friend, whoever talks to them directly, could share some humility about a similar struggle. So I'd be able to tell my kids, I didn't uphold this perfectly before marriage. So I know the struggle, I know the draw and the temptation and the convenience, and I fell into it myself. So I come to you as a fellow sinner. That can really help a person receive the information. And then perhaps you or your friend would ask, is there any way I can help you? Now, whatever their answer is, they may or may not be able to do it, but can I pray for you? Would you talk about this further with me? Do you want to discuss it? And maybe your friend would consider helping financially. If his son would then not live with the girlfriend, would financial support be an option to help him stick to his spiritual beliefs? We always have to consider as well, is he a Christian, and does he still want to pursue Christianity? Because these values, although Marc also points out the secular side of the studies, but these values of abstaining from premarital sex, that's a value for Christians. And so is this young man wanting to live out a Christian lifestyle still? That's worth asking.
That's a good point. Devon, I hope that helps. Do you need any clarity on any of this or any pointers of how to have those conversations?
No, that helps. It kind of gives me kind of like a starter point on how to approach the situation.
And I think it's worth being brave. So I love that you want to do that, Devon, because sometimes the conversation doesn't go the way that you want it to go or that you hope that it will go initially. But then later on, when that person ends up having problems, they appreciate that you were brave enough to confront them. And that may be the point where they come back to you and listen to your counsel.
And opposing truth like this is best received if there's a foundation of relationship. And so it helps to have a base of curiosity already. Tell me about the relationship. Tell me about how things are going, to show interest in the life of this young man and to look for the positives in the relationship with the girlfriend makes it more likely he'll receive the truth afterwards.
Yeah, I think, it's so powerful to step into truth, into conversation. That is very difficult, but it's on your heart. And so it's an opportunity for you with this couple that could make the difference in the world. What book can we send Devon? Maybe I'm thinking send him How We Love. He can give that to the couple. And it may be a good way for them to make some good choices as they prepare for this life ahead. So, as you were saying, that we have such a confused culture that believers are believing that this is the way and that there should be no problem, but then we know that it can cause so much difficulty. And I always think, because I'm from a whole nother world where people didn't do this on a regular basis, but now it is really commonplace. And as believers, it's a challenge. How do we want to live in the way that God wants us to live? But I think it's worth those close conversations, the curiosity. Just, what's your goal? What do you hope to be true in 10 years from now? Hopefully we can help you along that way. We're so grateful for you listening today. Thank you, Marc, or Jeff, or whatever your name is. We're talking about. And thank you, Alice. Listeners, we're so grateful that you tune in and that you check us out wherever. Share New Life with somebody. It could
Thanks for listening.
in their life.
We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Thanks for watching today. We love helping people. I hope you sense that. And we know that there's always hope if you find the right resource. Now, if something we've said to somebody else applies to you, that's fantastic. That's what we're hoping for. But also, if you want to join us directly, you can call 1-800-229-3000 between 1 and 3 Eastern Time, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Those are the best times to get through. And while you're here on YouTube, check out these other videos that we've done to help people see where they could grow or a different path to take. And if you do that, would you give us a thumbs up on the video, and please subscribe to this channel. There are many ways that we can help you outside of the radio program, and it's very hard for some to pick up a phone and dial 1-800-NEW-LIFE, but when you do, we put you in touch with somebody who cares about you, knows all the resources out there, and they're going to find the best for you. There is no reason to struggle alone. I hope to see you tomorrow. Hope you'll invite somebody else to come and join that maybe needs just a little bit of help along the way. I'll see you next time.